What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And in this video, I'm going to give you the details of where we stand right now with getting a new stimulus check, a new stimulus package, a new unemployment extension. And I promise I will give you an unemployment extension update in this video. I know I've been sidetracked with the last couple of videos, but I will do it in this video. By the way, I actually hear an ice cream man outside my window right now. It just brings back memories of being a kid, seeing the ice cream man. And let me know if you had an ice cream man that would come around to your neighborhood and you'd be able to buy an ice cream for like 50 cents or a dollar. Now they're like $4 for like an ice cream, and it's like, wow, it's like inflation is just really gone through the roof in the last several years. But let's get into the stimulus information. If you can, before we get started, give this video a thumbs up for me. It really helps out our channel. And if you're new here, click the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on new videos. My wife and I do all the research for you every single day so we can bring you all the information in a quick, concise video. Okay, Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats have come down from where they were and what they wanted for a stimulus package of $3.4 trillion down to $2.2 trillion. The Republicans have come up from what they wanted. They started at $1 trillion and they've gone up to 1.3 and even possibly 1.5. They've talked about that a few times. So we're actually not that far from getting a deal done. The Democrats have come all the way down from 3.4 to 2.2. The Democrats are up to 1.5. So they're actually pretty close. Since that time, we've had the Problem Solvers Caucus, which is a group of 50 lawmakers from the U.S. House of Representatives, 50 congressmen, 25 Democrats and 25 Republicans have actually announced the perfect bill that pretty much everybody agrees except for maybe Nancy Pelosi, and says that this bill is the bill that everybody needs. In this bill that starts at 1.5 trillion and goes to 2 trillion, it has a booster in it that if the virus continues, there will be more money. So it's 1.5 trillion to 2 trillion, which is right in the middle of what the Democrats and the Republicans want. In this bill is stuff for both sides. It hits all the notes. It has not one stimulus check, but two more stimulus checks. If they were to pass this bill, you'd get one stimulus check now of $1,200 per individual and $500 per dependent. That would be, this time around, would be all dependents. So it would be child dependents, it would be college students who may have missed out on the stimulus check from the first one, and adult dependents who are dependent on somebody else's tax return, likely missed out on the stimulus check from the first one. This Problem Solvers Caucus bill would solve that problem, so everybody would get a stimulus check. Dependents would get $500 and individuals would get $1,200. So a family of four with two adults and two children would get two sets of $1,200, $2,400, and two $500 checks for a total of $3,400. Now, one of the best parts of this bill, it says that if the virus and the pandemic continues into March of 2021, March of next year, there would be another stimulus check of the same amount, which is pretty much what we need. I mean, if this pandemic continues to go on, we're going to need more stimulus going forward. And March of 2021 is like what, like 6 months from now? So we would need another stimulus check 6 more months from now. So this basically would say, hey, we're going to give you a stimulus check for about every 6 months that is going on during this pandemic. Now, I know a lot of you guys have told me in the comments that you would love to receive stimulus checks every month. And I would too, but this is the current best bill that we have right now. A stimulus check now, stimulus checks for dependents, and again in March of 2021, another stimulus check. This is the best bill we have right now. It also includes several other things, including an unemployment extension to the end of the year. That would be 8 weeks of an unemployment extension, which cuts right down the middle between what the Republicans want at $300 per week and what the Democrats want at $600 per week. It does it at $450 per week. If you lost your job during this pandemic, you would get 8 more weeks of bonus money at $450 per week for 8 weeks. Then there would be an additional period after that of 5 weeks that would be dependent on your income that you made from your previous job. And that could go as high as $600 per week. So you would receive 13 weeks of an unemployment boost money to get you through the end of the year before you find another job. This is boost money because you lost your job during the pandemic or recently, which is pretty much during the pandemic, and it gets you through to the end of the year until you can find another job. The other great thing about this bill is it does the same thing as the stimulus checks in that if the pandemic continues into next year, there would be another round of unemployment money next year again. So the same thing again next year, which again, that's 6 months from now. So if this pandemic continues, which is very likely, I mean, we don't expect the virus to go away in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Even though I see a lot of comments saying that when the election comes, the virus is going to go away. I've definitely seen a lot of comments say, let me know if you think that. I understand. I mean, I know that there's a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. I have a lot of conspiracy theories too about if the Republicans have just been kind of stalling the negotiations and want to pass the stimulus check right before the election. And then there's also the theory that Nancy Pelosi from the Democrats doesn't want to pass the stimulus check because she knows it will help out the president right before the election. So, I mean, I get it, but remember, this virus started in China and affected the entire world. I mean, we've had over 30 million cases in the entire world. So it's not just like this is a President Trump versus Biden thing and it's just going to magically go away. But I don't know. Maybe it will be. 2020 is as crazy as this year has been. I don't put anything, out of reach at this point. Anything's possible. So in this let me know if you hear the the ice cream man. I'll give you a quick story. My wife, when she was a kid, her parents didn't want her to get ice cream before dinner from the ice cream man. So they told her it was the music truck, and the music truck just came around to play music for the kids in the neighborhood, and she didn't know that they sold ice cream from that truck for several years later. So they called it the music truck. It's a very funny story. Let me know if you can hear the music truck in the background. Or this crow that keeps crowing. Can you hear that? I don't know if my mic will pick that up or not. But okay, so also in this bill is things for the Democrats and the Republicans to make them happy so that they will pass this bill. In this bill is $500 billion for states and cities, which is what the Democrats want real bad. It's Nancy Pelosi's number one priority. Got to have money for states and cities. Got to have money for states and cities. The people aren't as important, but if we don't have this money for states and cities, we can't pass a stimulus package. That's what she's said numerous times. So this is $500 billion in there for states and cities. That's actually more than would go to the people. The stimulus checks cost about $300 billion. So this would include $500 billion for states and cities that need money, of which the president and the Republicans criticize that it's overwhelmingly majority Democratic states and cities that need this money. New York Governor Cuomo, I love to call him Cuomo because that's how it looks, but Cuomo, you guys always laugh when I say Cuomo. Governor Cuomo has said that New York, their revenues from income tax and sales tax is down significantly, and they need more money for their state desperately. Of course, New York is a Democratic state, so of course, President Donald Trump says, well, that's not because you're not running your state properly, but there are a lot of states and cities that are, of course, making less money right now because there's less people working and the states are paying out more unemployment money, and pretty much there's just less money flowing out because of the pandemic. So there's $500 billion in there for states and cities. There's also liability protections in there for the Republicans. There's also $100 billion in there for schools. I mean, there's money for small businesses, and through the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program, which helps small businesses from going out of business and pay their employees' paychecks. That's pretty much a great thing. There's money for the EIDL program for small businesses also. I mean, this Problem Solvers Caucus bill is pretty much the best thing since sliced bread since we got our first stimulus check. This is the best thing that's come around. Nancy Pelosi and the Republicans just need to bridge that gap a little bit and say, let's just pass this bill. This bill has bipartisan support. It was drafted by 25 Republicans and 25 Democrats in the House of Representatives. It already has support from both sides. And we've seen an outcry from both Republicans and Democrats since they've released this bill saying this bill is it. This is the one we need. It's a great compromise. It has something for everybody. In addition to that, there's also going to be money needed for airlines and for restaurants. The airlines have said that if they don't receive money by the end of this month, that they're going to lay off hundreds of thousands of workers across all the different airlines and could go out of business without more money from the government. And they need this by the end of the month because October 1st is the deadline for which they can't lay off these employees because they got all that government bailout money. So if we don't see movement on that in the next week, airlines could go out of business and also lay off hundreds of thousands of workers, along with money needed for restaurants and small business restaurants across the country also. Also this week is a government shutdown that will happen at the end of this week if they do not get more money or a continuing resolution to extend the government budget to the end of the year. They need to do that by the end of this month, which is about a week away now at this point, or else we will see another government shutdown. We got a lot of stuff on the horizon, and there will be a lot of new news coming out on all this stuff as we go forward in the next day or two. I will keep you guys updated. All right, an update on the unemployment money. You can see this here on my screen. It shows which states are paid, which ones are payment pending. We should be receiving only a maximum of 6 weeks per state on this unemployment money that was passed by President Donald Trump through the executive order. And I am I really think that the president's going to do this also for a stimulus check if they don't come to an agreement by the end of the month when Congress goes on recess again and goes back to their states to basically go back for election. Remember, every person in the House of Representatives is up for re-election again this year because they only serve 2-year terms, and 1/3 of the Senate is up for re-election, including Mitch McConnell, which is basically about 1/3 of the Senate is up for re-election every 2 years. They have 6-year terms in the Senate. Let me scroll down here. You can see the rest of these states here. This column here is the date expected to be paid if you didn't receive it yet. I just heard that Ohio got their money today or yesterday, so Ohio should have received their money. I believe it was 6 weeks for Ohio all in one shot, so probably $1,800 unless you had taxes taken out. Then it was probably $1,800 minus your taxes for Ohio. I don't know the intricacies of every different state. I'm from Ohio, so I know people that are on this stuff. But you can see all these different states here. The ones that are payment pending really should be happening soon. I mean, we have the vast majority of states here that are paid by this point, and a lot of them didn't get the full 6 weeks, as you can see here. So you likely will be getting several more weeks to get you up to 6 weeks, or you might get it in a one-time shot to basically pay you out for the rest of the 6 weeks. There will not be any more unemployment extension bonus money at this point unless we see another stimulus package or another presidential executive order to pass more before the election. And that's very likely. I personally think the president is going to try to do every single thing he can to get as many votes as he can before the election. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's actually been passing all sorts of presidential executive orders. We had the eviction moratorium. We had the student loan pausing. We have a potential student loan forgiveness on the horizon where he could actually forgive part of your student loans up to $50,000. That is on the horizon as a possibility. He passed the unemployment extension presidential executive order. He passed money for kids through a food program. We have all sorts of things that he has been signing pretty much almost on a couple days, every single day or every 2 days. He's signing a new presidential executive order, trying to do as much as he can. And I think if Congress goes on vacation or recess without another stimulus package, I think he's going to pass a stimulus check through a presidential executive order. I will keep you guys updated as all this comes out. Make sure to hit the like button for me down below if you haven't yet, and to subscribe. We have new videos coming out at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you guys updated with all the news. And you can click on these videos to watch my newest stimulus check videos next. And this video teaches you how to start a business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income by selling products on Amazon, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.